start again? It did. Let's see if it lasts. So jot something down, something that you want to work on. That could be personal health, eating, sleep, something at your job, some type of relationship. Family's always a good one. Something to do with money. Something about pursuing your dream. You might have a couple things you write down. That's good. It could be something that just really bothers you that other people do. Does everybody have at least one thing? Give me a quick thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. In this situation, you're now in this situation, bless all of you. What is your first thought? What is the thing that you think you are most likely to do when this happens? And I want you to write that down towards the bottom. When this happens, this is what I do. Don't shame, don't judge, don't blame. When this happens, this is what I do. Jot it down. Congratulations, you've done your first thought. Now, it took longer to write than it took to actually think or actually do. So, nicely done so far. Do we all have a first thought down? Yeah. Okay. Step 2. What I like about this system, what I love about this system is I'm not telling you how to do things. I'm not asking you to walk across coals. I'm not asking you to do anything big. I'm telling you what are the things you've already done that you don't get to keep doing, that you want to do. All I'm doing, I'm the glasses that help you focus on the stuff you want to work on. That's it. This works for everything. So on step 2, list 2 things. If you're feeling super awake, do 3. But what are 2 things you could do instead on step 2? You know what your first thought is. What are 2 possible second thoughts? Go through your recipe book. You might just write down a word. That's okay. No one's grading this. Okay? The moment of reckoning. Step 3. In the situation that you were thinking about in step 1, you knew what you were going to do naturally. In step 2, trying out some other options, some things you already like, things that you feel are pretty doable for you already. Step 3, I want you to visualize being in that situation. I want you to feel those feelings. And now, I want you to pick one. Right now, where you are right now, the situation was here, which one would you go with? Jot that one down. Write it down really quick. I kind of like that the graphic has both an angel and devil option, which you may choose to write your piece by, depending on which one you were thinking about for today. Unless any of you think, oh, I should probably pick the good one because Sarah would be happy if I did that. I already told you, there is no shame, there's no blame, there's no guilt. You're choosing to do that. How nice is that? Instead of the, oh, damn, I should not have said that. Oh, man, that was a stupid thing to do. Why did I do it? I chose to do that because that needed to be what happened. There's some strength in that. There's power in that. There's intention in that. Now that took far more than even a minute. You did it. This was one that we can do together. Let's look at our triggers. We have some room for writing on that one too. And that has the HALT TM kind of baked into it. So one of the questions is, paraphrasing, what are some problems that you are having right now? They might be something that's already on there. You might just circle what I already have. You might say, you know what, I am thirsty as, I am thirsty. We'll just say it like that, I am thirsty. Or, I haven't eaten since breakfast. Or, I have gone 2 days and not a single person has touched me. Or, I haven't talked to people I'd like to talk to, and I text them and they're not texting me back, and it's making me feel really frustrated and alone. So in step 4, we get to say that check-in piece. Where are we right now? How are we doing? What's going on? How's my HALT? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And my extra friends, thirsty, medication, meditation. How are they doing? That first question asks you to think, where are you? And the second is powerful again. We're taking something back. Pick one of the ones from the top. And then I want you to write 2 things that you could do to remedy that problem. I've texted my friend, they haven't texted me back. I could try texting again. I could text somebody else, not to mention the first friend, but just because that one seems to text me more. I want to check in on how they're doing. That's something I could do if I'm feeling lonely. If I'm hungry, food is always a positive. Some food makes me feel better than other food. So maybe picking a healthier food would be good. Tired, that's a tricky one. We can't just like lay down whenever we're sleepy. We should. We should have a society where that happens. That would be delightful. But we do not. So for tired, how can I handle that? Well, I can take a look at how I can get sleep tonight. How can I take 2 minutes to just rest and be someplace quiet for now? Mini baby tiny nap. Recognize that I'm tired. Maybe don't keep doing things that are making me more tired. If I'm already tired, probably drinking the 3rd and 4th cup of coffee is, for me, not going to help. I'm just going to keep crashing. So knowing where I am and then what to do, those are really important. So the top one, you pick something you know that you are, maybe right now, that you're feeling, something in the HALT TM. And then in the bottom one, you're naming 2 things that you could do to help that out. That's a check-in piece. We do that a lot. I personally accidentally check in probably 5 times a day. I intentionally check in probably twice a day. But the other times I'm like, I'm really hungry. Ooh, let me just check everything else while I'm here. I know I'm hungry. What else? Angry? No. Lonely? A little bit. Tired? Surprisingly today, no. Yay. Thirsty? Yes. Meditation? Need to do that. Medication? Oh yes. That is a definite. That's a definite habit now. Yes. Just quick check-in. Okay, now I know. I don't have to beat myself up. You should have done this. Why didn't I do that? No, just here's where I am. Okay. And then step 5. How many of you have a phone with you today? Thank you for not being on it right now. Always a plus. Take it out. Now, you have the right to pass on this activity. I always offer that right. Just because everybody else is doing something, I believe many of our parents told us, etc., jump off a bridge, etc., etc. So if it's not something you want to do, that's okay. But here's what I'm going to suggest we do. We're going to open up our calendar app. We're going to schedule in 3 different events. One event that's going to start tomorrow and run every 3 days. One that's going to start the day after that and run every 3 days. And one that's going to start the day after that and run every 3 days. At different times. So you will never have, oh, it's 1 p.m., oh, it's 1 p.m., oh, it's 1 p.m., oh, it's... Because That's not going to help. You're always going to be dealing with the same stuff at 1 p.m. Does anybody need any extra help scheduling in an event? Because sometimes people are like, I don't normally do that. Okay. So I'm going to ask that you set 3 separate times. One of the days might be an afternoon, one of your events is going to be an evening, and one of your events is going to be a morning. And where it says, how often does this repeat? You say forever. When does this end? Never. If you want to try it as an experiment, then you can pick a day. But part of the problem when I haven't been able to do well with things is because I set an end date or I did it twice and then stopped. But when it's already in my phone, and I know I only have to do this for like a minute, okay, I can do that. If I'm driving, swipe, airplane mode, swipe, okay, I'm driving, what's my first thought, what's my second thought? The only example that I might say don't is if you are doing a surgery, you should probably not pause, you have things you need to do. But other than that, this is pretty much a thing you can do anywhere if you are awake. What's my first thought in this situation? What's my second thought in this situation? Which one do I want to pick? And it doesn't mean make a decision to somebody else. Sometimes it's just looking at my own feelings and where I am. So 3 days. 1 day is an afternoon, every 3 days. The second day is an evening, and that runs every 3 days. And the next one is a morning, and that runs every 3 days. And sometimes you might have 2 in a day. Lucky you. 2 times to practice. I usually title this Step 1, 2, 3, or 1MM, because that's 1 minute miracle. That's easy to put in there. You might have a different way. You might say, I don't like this, Sarah's making me type this in. And do that 3 different ways. That could happen, we don't know. But by automating it, we're taking the, I really do want to do that, but out of the picture. Ta-da, you did this. By the way, I did not program your phone. That is really important for you to notice. I did not program your phone. I did not send you a thing. You did this. You made the choice. This is, again, your 3rd step. You chose to say, yeah, I'm going to do this. You could have played a game of Candy Crush right now. I do not know. And that is okay too. Maybe this is not where you're at today. But you have the guides. You can certainly do it another time. Step 1. What's my first thought? What am I already going to do? I don't even have to think about it. Step 2. What's my second thought? What do I want to do? Step 3. Pick one. Those are our action steps. Those are the big deals. Step 4. Where am I at today? What are my triggers? Step 5. How do I get this done every day for 1 minute so that it becomes something I can do more often? Automatically. Now I need to tell you 2 important things. Number 1, I thought that when I started thinking more clearly, whenever I got my own addictions in hand, I don't ever say, oh, I'm recovered from that. But when I'm in recovery, when I'm actively working a program, when I'm doing the things I need to be healthy for me and safe for everybody around me, I thought that I wouldn't have the first thoughts anymore. They always say, they make it sound like that. Oh, I stopped doing this, I never did it again, I am just full of love and joy all the time. God bless those people. I am not full of love and joy all the time. Sometimes I am full of many things that are not love and joy. I thought when I got all my stuff together that I'd be great all the time, hooray! And I thought, oh, well, I'm still thinking that first thought. I must be doing it wrong. I must be messing up because I shouldn't be thinking this way anymore. I know this stuff over here is great. Why do I keep thinking this stuff? Why is this still my first thought? And it was only when I realized I have to take the judgment out. I have to take the blame out. I have to take the shaming of myself out. I have to take the guilt, and I have to recognize that that is an instinct thought. I will never not think that first. I will always think that thought first. And that's okay. Because I have other thoughts now too. The illusion is that this gets swept away in a positive horde of unicorns. We never will think that again. When the truth is, for me, I will always think that. And that's okay. For a long time, that kept me alive. But I don't have to pick that automatically now. So I think that's important for us to know that the first thought is how our brain was built. Our brain is built on synapses, and the more that you use a certain connection, the stronger it gets. So my first thoughts are California superhighways. And to think that, oh, well, I want to get to that place over there. I'm not going to get on the superhighway that I can go on automatically? What? No. That superhighway is always there. That is always an option. Waze has not taken that off the table as a route. But I now know that I have the ability to take my car and pull it over to the side of the road of a 10-lane highway, get out, take the keys for safety, climb over the guardrail, and start walking on the path next to the road to make a new path. It will never be the superhighway. Ever. For me, it will never be as strong as that superhighway. The superhighway is always the first thought. And to think that somebody's going to throw some barricades up on there and turn it into a park is just delightful to think of, but not going to happen for me. But what I can say is, superhighway, nope. Nope. No. It becomes faster to get to the second thought. It becomes easier to get to the second thought, but the first thought is always there. And that's not a bad thing. I've never heard that talked about. It took me a long time to understand that it was okay to have a first thought. So I'm sharing that with you because that's important to hear. You will always have that first thought, but it doesn't have to be the thought now. You got options. And the other thing I want to share is that what I like about this and the work I've done on this and the tons of feedback I've gotten from people over the years on, well, I don't like this part, or I like this part, or have you tried changing this to this? They helped me hone it. And what I found is this doesn't require a bed of money. It doesn't require a free weekend. It doesn't require a full staff. It doesn't require you to be a particular gender. It doesn't require you have a particular skin color, socioeconomic status, ability to do things. Basically, if you can think at the speed that you think, and you can think about your thinking, that takes a second. If you can think about your thinking, you can do it. I work on this with kids. They're fascinated at the idea that their brains do things automatically, but you can do something else. There's a real curiosity in that. Wait, I can always do this, but now I can do this too? This? Okay, that's kind of fun. We can work on that. So I like the idea that we get to be childlike about this. If you can be a child, then this works. For free. Anywhere. You now know this. By the way, you can never not know this. You now know this all the time. Even if you choose not to use it. Second thought, by the way. Second thought. You still have it. It is always going to be yours. And I think that is a real gift. And you can tell other people about this. That is a further gift. By the way, here's the thing I can do that's different. I didn't know. Now I know. On that August night, my entire world broke apart. That is all the cliches in the world, but it was 100% true. I could have died. Just mentally not been alive anymore. And by not saying anything, I got a whole new shot. I'm a different person today because of the decision I made on that evening. Now, lest we end on a sad note, I need to finish that story. So, $2,000 at a gentleman's club. I had feelings about that. I shared those feelings with the friends in Al-Anon, who were happy to listen, not judge, just said, you know, we're glad you're sharing that. What do you think you might do? And then a week later, now this was in 2012 when the economy was really struggling and Harrisburg was having some really tough times emotionally and especially economically, and they could barely keep the city running. There was an article I saw in Penn Live, and it said that in a gesture of commerce and goodwill, Savannah's was donating $1,200 to the city of Harrisburg to replace 6 streetlights in one of the difficult neighborhoods that hadn't been able to get replaced, and that Savannah's was happy to help the city of Harrisburg get back on its feet. And all I could think was, I want a plaque on each of those. I paid for each of those streetlights. Those children are getting from point A to point B in relative safety now because of choices that I had a say in. And even being able to laugh about it, not even a week later, is a testament to the fact that our first thoughts are not always our second thoughts. And we have that third step, we have that choice. And I invite you to keep that in the forefront, because every minute for the next rest of your life, at some point during the day, your phone will tell you to remember that there is a first step and a first thought. There's a second step and a second thought. There's a third step, which is pick one. There's a fourth step, which is how am I doing today, so I can do those, and a step 5, which is practice. Easy practice. And with those steps, I give those to you, and I ask that you take those out into the world, and that you share them. And if you have questions about any of those things, I am 100% open to talk about them. This is one of my passions, and one of the ways that I can give back to the world the way that it gave to me. I believe that I can only keep things if I give them to other people. That's a recovery slogan as well. I can keep the things that are working for me by sharing them with everybody else. If I try to keep them all to myself, they disappear. But if I share them, they get stronger, and it helps me. So it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you this evening, and I look forward to the conversations that we continue to have. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool.
Thanks. Yes.
Been taking any questions?
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a crazy question.
They're never crazy. Go. Yeah.
Okay.
What made you call it the 1 minute miracle and not 7-second delay?
Where were you?
No, but when you're going through the first steps and you're saying this only takes a few seconds, this only takes seconds, you're up to 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the 7 seconds with the toddler, and I'm like, wait a minute. It should be 7 seconds. It doesn't even take a minute.
That's true.
What do you mean? You know, like, I don't know.
That's so smart. That's fantastic.
I almost thought it should be called the 7-second
7-second
delay.
delay.
Yeah.
I will definitely consider that.
Okay.
That's a really creative take on it. Thank
Okay.
you. Anybody else?
Because it's like been funneling into a minute. It's like, you know, I don't know.
Yes.
So I got lost a little bit, so I'm gonna ask it by giving an example.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my first thought
Mm-hmm.
is my husband saying, okay, why is this dirty? Oh, this is very dirty. And my first thought around that is, clean it, you know, like, I'll be sarcastic about it. You live here too.
Sure.
If you think it's dirty, clean it.
Yeah.
Is that the
Oh yeah, that's 100% a first thought. Yes.
Okay. Second thought is, sorry, I did write it down because
Yes.
so, or do it myself. Like, okay, let me just do it and get him off my back, kind of a thing. I guess the third one is to choose one, right? So the choice though was to not say anything.
Ah,
Like, okay, whatever, right?
yeah,
Is that right? Is that the right sequence?
absolutely.
See, I was lost in the sequence.
So your step one was, so he says, hey, this is dirty.
Right,
Step one, words.
right,
Well, why don't you clean it then if it's so dirty?
right.
It sounds like your second thought was, I could clean it myself. Looking through the recipe box, I could clean it myself to get him off my back.
Or shut up.
I could say,
Ignore it.
oh yeah, that is kind, yeah. We just agree.
That
Or
would be
just
funny.
stare blankly, that's an option as well.
Mhm.
But it's a great opportunity to think about, in my relationship, if I know that this is a struggle, I've probably thought about this in the past, I probably talked to friends, I probably have a recipe box of things I could do that would be helpful, that I'd be proud of afterwards, that I'd be like, oh yeah, that would probably help that situation. And then you can pick one of those.
Okay, what I picked is to be either silent
Yeah.
or do it.
Yeah.
I don't have time to deal with him. So when we came to the, sorry.
No, sorry, needed. This is great.
Choose, choose not to respond was number 3. Number 4, I'm too tired to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
To play some uplifting music to get me out of this funk.
Ooh, I like that idea.
So, well, because when we all get into a funk of some sort, oh, it's raining. So I just put uplifting music, I get on my vibrating plate, and I just have a blast. I'm dancing the whole time.
That's awesome.
So, so that's so I don't know if that's step 4. It is?
Step 4 can be
Sequence.
something you do. Yeah, step 4 can be something you do after step 3 to be like, okay, follow through. It could be something you do outside of it, just from time to time during the day. How is my HALT TM? How am I doing? If something were to happen now, how could I handle that? So it can be step 4 and 5 are things you do throughout life, just during the day. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are when there's a definite situation happening.
Right, and I think that this really works with definite situation.
Yeah.
Because I teach mindset mastery as well, I mostly think about our ego state and a human ego state, or it could be emotional or rational.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm in the rational state, then I can just keep going, nothing happened. But if I'm in the emotional state, I have to change that immediately, or else it becomes an anchor in the brain. So now, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I love it. No sorry needed. I love that you're connecting that because we all understand things in different ways.
Yeah, and I get lost a little bit in American jargon, American, like what are the California highways? What was that about? I'm like, what is that? What is that?
So
What
in
are you
California,
referring to?
gotcha. Are you asking rhetorically or?
No, I'm actually asking because I really wrote it down. I don't know what it
The
means.
super highway. 12-lane highways.
So there are
Yeah.
highways that might have
Okay.
7 or 8 lanes of traffic on
Right.
this way,
Right.
and then another 7 or 8
Right.
lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
So-
So what is that comparing to what you're saying here?
Good question.
Okay.
So when we have our instincts, those are the things we've been doing automatically for a long time.
Mhm.
If I throw something at you, you're probably going to put your hands up to catch it, right?
Right.
Automatically.
Right.
Your brain's been doing that one since forever.
Correct.
So the synaptic connections there are super strong. They're
Right.
really, and they're,
Unconscious
that's where you
focus.
normally go. Just
Okay.
pop on the highway. Done,
Right.
pop on the highway.
Got it.
So step 1 is recognizing, oh, what superhighway is my thought probably going to pop into right away? What's the thing
Okay.
I
What's the
normally
automation?
do?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Excellent. Thank you for asking that clarifying question. There's always things that people understand in different ways.
Mm-hmm. And especially people who are from different cultures, they might not get that expression.
You are right.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so what if your second thought is scarier than your first?
Good question.
No, seriously.
That's a good
No, that's-
No, because I go back, and my second thought is I should have told that person off instead of just smiled at them
That is
and
so good.
accepted the crap that they were handing me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Most often than not, my second thought is, I should have really ripped that person a new, and I don't do that, you know, and I tend to be more on the passive and, you know, me being apologetic to them when in reality they're being the a-hole. And it's like, you know, is it, I guess I'm almost asking, like, is it worth it to take that? Is it just about being comfortable in your decision? Is that what we're trying to allude to? Just being able to be comfortable in your decision and being able to think both sides of it before?
I like,
Are
I
you
like
following
the
me?
idea of
I
yes.
don't know if I'm
Absolutely.
verbalizing
And
what
in
I'm
my-
trying to
and
say.
in my
But-
understanding, sorry, but in my understanding though, is it, and it's a question we're both asking, the same thing is basically, is it just because I just have to accept the choice I made? Because if I
Yeah.
chose to tell him off,
Yeah.
right, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Right, if I chose to tell him off, I'm okay, I have to be okay with that. Because I cannot go backwards and say, oh, what did I do? Is that where you're
Or what if, or even if, what if the second thought has worse consequences than the first? You know, if the second thought is, you know, that I really should have gone for it and laid down the law and that kind of thing, you know, am I still going to allude to the fact that I made that decision and be okay with it? Or am I even going to second guess that scenario and not be?
Can the first step be a simultaneous two thoughts?
Nope.
No.
No, of course.
No, 'cause
Yeah,
it's
it's
Cheating or